The bride is gorgeous, just 22 years old. Can you believe she married a 65-year-old man who recently had a stroke? What a waste of her life. People are saying she only did it to pay off her dad's debts. He's been addicted for years. But hey, I guess if you have enough money, you can get a young, pretty wife to take care of you. Those were the whispers I heard at my own wedding. My name is Thu Q, and I'm 22. I dropped out of school early because of family circumstances and started working at a garment factory with my mom. But the saddest part of our story is my father. He's been an addict for nearly 5 years. No matter how hard my mother and I worked, 14, sometimes 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, we never earned enough to cover his debts. We were the highest earners in our department, but it still wasn't enough. My dad sold everything of value in our house: the TV, the fridge, even my phone. He even sold the heavy wooden table set my mom had bought for nearly 10 million dong, furniture that took 3 men to lift. Now we don't even have chairs to offer guests. Not that anyone visits us anymore. Even our relatives stay away. Dad used to go from house to house borrowing money, and if they refused, he'd sneak in and steal something. Eventually, everyone cut ties with us. We were pariahs. Life was exhausting. I worked endlessly just to pay off debt. While girls my age posted selfies with new phones and trendy outfits, I rode a beat-up bike to work and wore the same 3 outfits all year. I had one pair of rubber sandals, bright blue, bought for $1. My jeans were so worn they were almost white on the backside. Every month, I gave my mom 10 million dong, almost my entire salary, to pay off the debt. The interest had ballooned. I kept just a few hundred for myself, enough for personal hygiene and maybe sticky rice for breakfast. Even that wasn't safe. If I didn't hand over every last dong, my dad would beat me. Once, I tried to save 600 for myself. He threw a dish rack at my face. I had a black eye for a month. I was tired. Friends from school were getting married. I didn't even have decent clothes to wear to their weddings. I had to borrow money from a coworker just to bring a gift. One time, I showed up in my best outfit, only to be laughed at. That humiliation stayed with me. Eventually, I started thinking about leaving. I told my mom I wanted to move far away and never come back. I hated everything about our life. But she cried and begged me to stay. She couldn't handle things alone, so I stayed. Then, near the end of last year, my dad was arrested for drug use and sent to a rehabilitation center. For the first time, our home was quiet. No yelling, no violence. But that peace didn't last. His creditors started showing up at our door demanding payment. One day, I came home to find my mother unconscious. She had tried to take her own life with pesticide. I called the neighbor for help and rushed her to the hospital. Thankfully, she survived, but her health never fully recovered. She couldn't return to work. All the financial burden fell on me. I was drowning. Then one evening, after an early dinner, no overtime that day, we locked up early, afraid of more creditors. That's when Mrs. Van, a neighbor from the next block, called out from our gate. "Thu, Q, are you two home?" I peeked out at the door. "Mom, it's Mrs. Van." "Let her in," my mother sighed. "Maybe she needs something." I opened the door. "Hi, Mrs. Van. You girls sleeping already? It's not even dark yet. I was just feeling a bit tired. Where's your mom?" "She's inside. Come in." She walked into our bare living room, looked around and said with a sigh, "Still no table? You poor girls." My mom responded quietly, "My husband took everything, sold it all before he was sent away." "Well, at least he's gone now. He made your lives hell. But I know he left you with a mountain of debt." We nodded. Mrs. Van leaned forward. "Let me ask you something. Do you want to be done with the debt, completely?" I blinked. "How could we? It's more than 1 billion dong with interest." She sipped her tea and said, "I'm here on behalf of Mr. Than. You know him, right? His wife passed away 5 years ago and he had a stroke recently. He's been weak ever since. He's looking for someone to care for him, to keep him company. He saw you at his granddaughter's wedding. You remember attending that? He noticed you, said you had a gentle presence." I froze. "Mr. Than? He's the wealthiest man in the area. Everyone knows that. But he's also 65. The grandfather of a girl I went to school with. I had never imagined." Mrs. Van continued, "If you agree to marry him, he'll pay off all your family's debt, every single dong." I said nothing. I was stunned. But my mom? She stood up and said, without hesitation, "No, absolutely not." That won't work, ma'am. She's only 22. Still so young. How can she possibly marry Mr. Than? He's 65. The age gap is ridiculous. But Mr. Than is rich, the woman argued. Marrying him would clear all her family's debts. She and her mother could live comfortably for the rest of their lives. Think about it. Am I wrong? My mother still shook her head. No, it's not right. He's old and sick too. If she marries him, she'll be nothing more than his nurse. That's not a life for her. Mrs. Van clicked her tongue in irritation. You two don't understand anything. She'll take care of him for a few years, sure, but with his health, he had a stroke, remember? He doesn't have long to live. Once he's gone, everything he owns will go to her. She'll still be young and free to do whatever she wants. Despite my mother's firm resistance, something in me wanted to break free. Let me just meet him and talk first, I said. Then I'll decide for myself. But sweetie, my mother pleaded, he's 65 and recovering from a stroke. If you marry him, you'll be trapped for life. Whether it's suffering or happiness, I don't know that yet, I replied. Just let me talk to him. That's all. I asked Mrs. Van to relay the message to Mr. Than. We arranged to meet the following evening. Before she left, she handed me a thick envelope. Here, 20 million, she said. A gift from Mr. Than. Use it however you like. Thank you, ma'am. No need to thank me. Just don't forget me when you're living the high life, okay? I'll be going now. Get some rest, both of you. After she left, my mother snapped at me. Kyo, are you out of your mind? You're barely in your 20s. Why would you marry a man old enough to be your grandfather? I sighed. I just want to pay off our debts. I want money. That's all this is about, money, Mom. The next evening, I went to Mr. Than's house. I was familiar with it. I used to visit often since his granddaughter, Lynn, was my classmate. When I rang the doorbell, Lynn answered. She looked surprised. Kyo, what are you doing here? Looking for me? Hey, Lynn, I heard you were back? My husband and I live here now. His family's house was cramped, so I asked if we could move in with my grandparents. Nice. Living in your own family home even after getting married must be great. Lynn smiled. So you came to see me? Actually, I have an appointment with your grandfather. Oh, I see. Come on in. He's in the living room. Mr. Than's house was grand. The driveway alone was so long it felt like a trek. He owned 3 cars, but ever since his stroke, they just sat unused. Inside, everything sparkled. Gold-trimmed furniture, lavish decor. It looked like something out of a dream, completely out of reach for someone like me. Mr. Than was sitting in the living room sipping tea. He smiled warmly when he saw me, his face lined with age. Grandpa, this is my friend Kyo, Lynn said. She's here to see you. He nodded. Go upstairs, sweetheart. I'd like to speak with Kyo in private. Lynn blinked. Why? Can't I stay? I said go, he replied gently but firmly. She glanced at me, confused, then went upstairs. As soon as we were alone, Mr. Than eyed me from head to toe. His gaze lingered on my chest, and I felt his eyes crawl over my body. It was unsettling. I'm here to make things clear, I said quickly. But he interrupted. Don't call me Mr. Than. That's too formal. Call me Than. Or better yet, just call me darling. He smiled. Goosebumps prickled my skin, but I forced a nod. Okay, Than. I just have a few things I need to ask before I decide. Ask anything you like. If I agree to marry you, aside from paying off our debts, what else would I get? I need to know everything before making a decision. He took my hand. You won't have to worry about a thing. I'll make sure you're taken care of. How much debt does your family have? About 1.3 billion, I answered. Fine, I'll give you that to pay off the debt, and another 1.3 billion to renovate your mother's house. Once you move in with me, what's mine will be yours. We'll share everything, as husband and wife should. It sounded like a good deal, but I had doubts. What would his children think? Would they resent me for marrying him? What would happen after he died? Would they try to take everything? But asking now might make me sound greedy. Still, I had to know. And your kids? Will they object? I've made up my mind. If you say yes, nothing else matters. And what about later? I asked. What if, after a few years, you're gone and they push me out? What then? You'll be protected, he assured me. I'll write you into my will. You'll get your share. Trust me. I weighed his words. I wanted to be debt-free. I wanted to buy my mother a new house. I wanted money for clothes, for travel, for everything I'd never had. To have all that, I needed to say yes. So I did. After we finished talking, I stood to leave. But Mr. Thun grabbed my wrist. "Where are you going? Don't rush off." "I should go." But he pulled me into an embrace. His arms trembled with age, and yet his grip was hungry, possessive. "Let me hold you," he murmured. I froze as his hands roamed my body. When he kissed me, I gagged, barely suppressing the urge to vomit. It was revolting. But I reminded myself, this is for your future. You'll endure it, just a little longer. Then a voice rang out. "What the hell are you two doing?" It was Lynn. Her voice was sharp, and in that instant, everything shattered. As we pulled away from each other, Mr. Thon spoke sharply. "You already knew. Why ask?" Lynn glared at me. "What now? Are you trying to seduce my grandfather?" I stayed silent. There was no easy way to answer that question. Mr. Than stepped in. "From now on, I want you to call Kyu your grandmother. She and I will be getting married soon." Lynn's eyes widened in disbelief. "Are you out of your mind? This can't be real." "It's perfectly normal," he replied coolly. "Why are you so surprised? You expect me to spend the rest of my life alone?" "I heard Mom mention something about you remarrying, but I never imagined you'd marry someone my age." "Well, it is what it is," he said simply. "Nothing's impossible. Now go upstairs." "This is insane," she protested. "Why couldn't you marry someone closer to your age? Why someone this young? It doesn't feel right." "Watch your mouth," he snapped. "Who gave you permission to speak like that? One more word from you and I'll ask you and your husband to move out. Now go." Lynn cast one last glance at me, then stomped upstairs in frustration. Mr. Than reached to embrace me, but I gently pushed him away. I should go. I don't want to give Lynn more reason to resent me. We'll talk later, okay? "Wait, just stay a little longer," he pleaded. But I had already slipped out the gate. He followed with his cane, but couldn't keep up. I left his house and wandered along the levee. The breeze was cool and pleasant. As I walked, a familiar figure appeared. Kian, my neighbor. He was 2 years older than me, handsome, kind-hearted. "Kieo, where are you coming from?" he asked. "Oh, hi, Kian. Just out for a walk." "Alone?" "Yes. Mind if I join you? I could use a walk myself." "But you're on your motorbike. How can you walk with me?" "No problem, I'll just push it." And so Kian walked beside me, pushing his scooter along the riverbank. He was the only person who had ever truly been kind to me. Back when my father was still around, back when he used to beat me, every time I ran crying to Kian's house, he'd comfort me with candy and gentle words. He never once looked down on me for being poor. We walked together for a long while, and I could tell he must be tired. That scooter wasn't light. I turned to him and said, "Let's head home, I'm getting tired." "Feet sore already?" he teased. "Okay, hop on. I'll give you a ride." He dropped me off at my gate and handed me a small paper bag. "For you," he said. "What is it?" "Just open it later, okay?" "Thanks, Kian." He beamed, waved, and rode away. I stepped inside. My mother was waiting for me. "You've been gone a while." "I've made up my mind, Mom. I'm going to marry Mr. Than." "What?" she gasped. "He's old enough to be your grandfather." "So what if he's old? You want to marry an old man?" "You're doing this just to pay off my debts, aren't you?" "I won't let you throw your life away for that," she cried. I raised my voice to cut her off. "Don't stop me, Mom. If you do, I won't ever speak to you again. I'm done with this poor, miserable life. I want money. I want to be a woman of status. So don't try to stop me. I've made my decision." Tears streamed down her cheeks. "But what about Kian? He came over to visit. I think he really cares about you." At the mention of Kian, my heart clenched. He was the only man who ever truly loved me. And I liked him too. But I'd been so busy working to pay off our debts that I hadn't allowed myself the luxury of love. I swallowed my emotions and said bitterly, "But I don't love Kian. And love doesn't pay debts, does it?" "What happens when the collectors come to seize the house, huh?" "Then what?" I went to my room and opened Kian's gift. Inside were 2 beautiful blouses, one white, one soft pink. At the bottom was a small note. "Kyo, I like you. A lot. I want to be the one who protects you for the rest of your life. Will you let me?" He must have known I didn't use a phone, so he'd written it by hand. My tears fell freely now. If money wasn't an issue, I would have been overjoyed by this. But it was too late. I was going to marry Mr. Than. My feelings for Kian would have to be buried deep and forgotten. I left the gift untouched, deciding to return it the next day and tell him I was getting married. I hoped that would help him let go. His love for me? Maybe in another life I'd return it. Yes, I was giving up my first love for money. The next evening, I went to return the gift. Kian looked surprised. If you don't feel the same way, it's okay, he said quietly. I'll be fine. Just, could you please keep the shirts? I got them just for you. No one else could wear them like you do. I sighed and said coolly, Fine, I'll keep them. But there's something I need to tell you, I added. I'm getting married. The wedding's probably next month. Keen stood frozen. You're getting married? Yes, I have to. My mom and I, if we don't pay off our debt soon, we'll lose everything. We might end up doing something desperate. I've got savings, he blurted out. I'll give it all to you. Please don't marry someone else. I smiled sadly. How much do you even have? About 80 million. I'll sell my motorbike, whatever I can. I'll give you everything I've got. Please, Q. Don't do this. But even all your savings won't be enough. That's maybe 1/10 of what we owe. Then what? We marry and starve together? He hesitated. Is it really that bad? Yes. Even if you sold yourself, it wouldn't cover the debt. Please, Kian, forget me. I'm marrying a wealthy man to escape this life. Try to understand. Who? He asked softly. Mr. Than, the richest man in the district, he stammered. But he's so old. I don't care. Money is what matters now. Whether he's old or sick means nothing to me anymore. Go ahead and die quickly if that's what you want, I snapped, then stood up and walked away. Kian just sat there, staring at me, his fists clenched and eyes red. But what he didn't know was that as I turned my back on him, tears silently streamed down my face. Two people, deeply in love, yet money stood like an invisible wall between us, keeping us apart. That love, it would have to stay buried in our hearts. Are we to be pitied or blamed? Despite all the gossip, despite what the neighbors said, 2 weeks later, I put on a wedding dress and became Mr. Than's wife. On our wedding day, the groom arrived with a cane, all smiles, laughing nonstop. But the bride? My face was blank, as cold and emotionless as cash. At the reception, guests whispered, why would such a young, beautiful woman marry a man old enough to be her grandfather? But others, those who knew my family's situation, nodded knowingly. My father was an addict, drowning in debt. If I didn't marry a wealthy man, my mother and I would spend our entire lives trying to claw our way out of it. Our wedding night was unique. Honestly, it could have been a comedy skit. I already knew Lynn didn't like me. She'd opposed the wedding from the beginning, accusing me of being a gold digger, only marrying Thun for his money. I tried to avoid her, staying in our bedroom. Meanwhile, Thun, after finishing his drinks and chatting with his siblings, tried to make his way to the room, but the alcohol hit him harder than expected. Be careful, Brother Thun, his younger brother said, worried. Don't worry, Thun said proudly, pounding his chest. I've still got it. You look like you're about to tip over. Y'all go on. I'm heading upstairs to my wife. He grabbed his cane and began climbing the stairs. But his legs were weak. He'd had a stroke before, and while I'd helped with his rehab, his limbs were never the same. He wobbled up, swaying side to side, and just as he neared the top, he fell, face first, broke his 2 front teeth, and groaned in pain. His brothers rushed to drive him to the hospital. I had fallen asleep and didn't know any of this. When I woke up around 10 p.m. and didn't see Thun anywhere, I went downstairs. The place was empty. Guests had all gone home, except for Lynn's husband, drunk and passed out on the couch. Lynn herself was nowhere to be seen. As I stood there, confused, Lynn's husband sat up and gave me a leery grin. Hey there, Miss Q. Wait, guess I should say Mrs. Q now, huh? I ignored him. He was clearly drunk, and I didn't want to engage. You're way too hot to be with a guy like Thun. He's old, sick. What can he even do? That was it. I snapped. That's none of your business, and you better watch how you talk. Thun is your uncle. He leaned in closer, eyes gleaming with sleaze. If you're ever feeling unsatisfied, you can come to me. I'll take care of you. I recoiled in disgust. Get away from me. As I turned to leave, he grabbed my wrist. Where you going, sweetheart? We haven't finished talking. Let go, I hissed, yanking my arm back. Just then, the front door opened. Lynn walked in. She saw how close we were standing, and her face darkened. What the hell is going on here? Her husband quickly backed away. Babe, you're back! Lynn turned her glare on me, then shouted at him. You bastard! She just moved in and you're already hitting on her? What? Baby, come on. You're being crazy. Crazy, she shrieked. You swore you'd only ever touch me, you lying perv. They went back and forth. I tried to head upstairs, but Lynn suddenly barked, Q, stop right there. I sighed and turned back. What now? She glared at her husband. Go to your damn room. I'll deal with you later. He whined, tried to plead, but she wasn't having it. He left, slamming the door. Then she turned on me. What the hell were you doing with my husband? I blinked. Excuse me? Don't play dumb. I saw you holding his hand. You trying to seduce him or what? I raised an eyebrow. Watch your mouth. Technically, by marriage, I'm your grandmother-in-law now. I'll never call you that. Don't even dream of it. I know your type. You're just here for my grandfather's money. You don't love him. You're right, I said coldly. I don't. But he knows that. And if he wants me as his wife, it comes at a price. You think a man that old could land someone my age just like that? Everything has a price, Lynn. Guess you're not smart enough to understand that. She stared at me, furious. You're unbelievable, Q. Always playing the sweet girl on the outside, but inside you're a snake. A snake? I smirked. Fine. But you know what snakes do? They bite. So unless you want to get hurt, don't come poking at me. You started this. If you hadn't grabbed my husband. I didn't. He grabbed me. If anyone was flirting, it was him. So maybe you should keep an eye on your man. You bitch. And you'd better not cross me, otherwise I might just talk to Then about kicking you and your husband out of this house. Oh yeah? We'll see about that. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the one packing. We argued for a while. She hated me. I didn't care. She thought I was trash, and honestly, she wasn't wrong. But all I cared about was Then's money and his cars. Everything else, not my problem. Eventually, she stormed off, still yelling at her husband, throwing things around their room. I sat in the living room, sipping water, listening to the chaos upstairs, and smirked. I lived here now. And from now on, I'd make sure her marriage was a daily mess. Why not? It'd be entertaining. Then suddenly I remembered, oh crap, where the hell was Thon? What's taking him so long to get back? With no other choice, I headed down to Lynn's room to ask if she knew where Mr. Thon had gone. But as I got close, I saw Lynn and Nam in a full-blown fight. I stood there, watching from the doorway. Lynn was furious. She slapped Nam again and again, yelling, You bastard! She just got here and you're already flirting with her! You disgusting creep! Nam tried to defend himself. I didn't do anything. Oh, really? Then why were you holding her hand? I didn't. You're still lying? She snapped. Then Nam snapped back. He punched Lynn straight in the face, sending her stumbling backward. You think I'm soft, huh? You think you can walk all over me? I swear to God, I'll beat the crap out of you. Lynn screamed, holding her face in tears. I knocked on the door, trying to act like I hadn't heard anything. Lynn, hey, quick question. Do you know where Mr. Than went? He's been gone forever. Lynn wiped her tears, embarrassed. Oh no, I totally forgot. His grandfather's in the hospital. He went back to tell you to go see him, but I guess it slipped my mind. What happened to him? He fell down the stairs. Probably has to stay there a few days. You should go. I sighed, went back to my room, packed a few things, and called a taxi to the hospital. That was my wedding night. What else can I say? When I arrived, a young doctor asked, Are you here to see your grandfather? Mr. Than, bruised and clearly in pain, spoke up before I could answer. No, she's my wife. The doctor blinked in surprise. Wait, she's your wife? Yep, my wife. Any problem? No, I was just surprised, that's all. Didn't know you were taken. As we left the room, I caught the doctor sneaking one last look at me. Back at Mr. Than's side, I asked gently, How did you fall so badly? You have to be more careful. I'm fine. How's your mom? She must be tired. I'm okay, just a little sleepy. Then take a nap. I'll wake you if I need anything. I stayed with him for 3 days in the hospital. Every day, someone would ask if I was his granddaughter. Every time, Mr. Than would snap at them. I just smiled and let it go. When he was discharged, he was thrilled to finally get back home. Nothing had happened between us at the hospital, and clearly, he'd been waiting for the moment we returned. First thing I did after we got home, I gave my mom the money he had promised to pay off all her debts. A whole 2 billion VND. As promised, once the debt was cleared, Mr. Than would buy us a new house. My mother held the money in her hands, but she didn't look happy. What's wrong, Mom? Aren't you happy? She sighed. It just feels like I sold my daughter to pay off my debt. That doesn't sit right with me. I laughed. You think I'm only worth 2 billion? You're selling yourself short, Mom. I'm worth at least 20 billion. She smiled but shook her head. Don't joke like that. I don't need 20 billion. I just want you to be happy and safe. I'm worried they'll mistreat you. Don't worry. Your daughter isn't that easy to push around. I'll be fine. I sat and chatted with her a little longer, then looked over at the neighbor's house, Mr. Keene's. But his place was locked up. Is Mr. Keene still working? He left for the South, sweetheart, the day you got married. That's why I didn't see him at the wedding. He must have been upset. Yeah, poor guy. He had feelings for you. I sighed. I was sad too. But if I'd married Kian, where would I get the money to help you? He's kind, but he's poor. I had to do this. After sitting with Mom for a while, I returned to Mr. Than's house. He was already lying in bed, waiting for me. Still a lech, even at his age. I knew I couldn't escape it, so I accepted my fate. I took a shower, wrapped myself in a towel, and walked out. Mr. Than patted the bed. Come here, honey. I've been waiting all night. But you're still recovering? I'm fine now. Come on. I lay down next to him. He fumbled with his clothes, hands trembling. He eagerly pulled the towel off me and started kissing me. I felt disgusted, but I closed my eyes and endured it. Just a few more times, I told myself. I'll get used to this old man. But as it turned out, Mr. Than had erectile dysfunction. Nothing ever really happened between us. Since marrying him, my life changed completely. I didn't have to work. He hired a maid. I just ate, slept, and lay around while he fondled me. Eventually, I started managing his money. He gave me the safes combination and told me to spend freely. So I used his money to take driving lessons. Then I bought a car, in my name. Clothes, shoes, designer bags, the latest phone. I had everything. I took skincare seriously, and my looks improved day by day. Money really does change your life. Mr. Than was rich. I spent like crazy and he didn't care. But Lynn didn't like it. She pulled me aside. Can we talk? Sure, what's up? She looked me up and down. Ever since you married my grandfather, you've completely changed. From a broke, plain village girl to this. So what? Got a problem with it? I'm just saying, don't waste money. It's not like you earned it. Well, Lynn, I'm spending my husband's money, not yours. Or are you just mad because you don't get to live like I do? Lynn was fuming, but I'd hit the nail on the head, so she had no comeback. Mr. Than only gave her about $400 a month and made her and her husband work to support themselves. Seeing me live it up while she had to budget every penny just made her angrier. One day, Mr. Than was sitting in the living room when Lynn walked up. Grandpa, can I have $2,000? What for? I want to take a trip, please. You and your husband work full-time. Haven't you saved anything? We don't earn much. You already feed us and give us money, but with how expensive things are these days. You're being way too stingy, Grandpa. Stingy? You've been working all year and haven't saved a dime. Just this one time, okay? That's it. Next time, I'll take care of myself. Lynn sneered. You're fine handing money to that gold digger like it's nothing. She could blow through hundreds of millions, and you wouldn't bat an eye. But your own granddaughter asks for 50 million, and suddenly it's a big deal? I'm your blood grandpa. Don't bring her into this, he snapped. She's your aunt now. Stop comparing yourself to her. And watch your tone. You're getting too comfortable talking like that. If you talk to me like this again, I'll cut off your allowance, he warned. She huffed. So she gets everything while I get scolded? I'm your granddaughter, and she's just some gold-digging tramp. Mr. Than's eyes flared. What did you just say? Getting bolder by the day, aren't you? One more word like that, and you'll have me to answer to. I was standing on the stairs the entire time, hearing every word they exchanged. Of course, I already knew Lynn hated me. She wanted me gone. But it wasn't going to be that easy. Not when I had Mr. Than wrapped around my little finger. These days, he believed everything I said. What I underestimated was just how much Lynn despised me. Maybe it was time I gave her a reason to get kicked out. Something that would make Mr. Than see her for what she really was. I couldn't stand having her and her husband living under the same roof as me any longer. While they were still bickering, I calmly walked downstairs with a pleasant smile on my face. Well, aren't you two up early? Mr. Than smiled and tugged my hand affectionately. Just woke up. You're up early too, sweetheart. I got a little hungry and couldn't go back to sleep, I replied sweetly. What do you feel like eating? I'll have the housekeeper cook whatever you want. I'd love some pho. All right, I'll go ask her to pick some up for us. With that, he shuffled outside with his cane. Lynn tightened her lips, clearly annoyed. Of course, it's all about your wife now. Your own granddaughter is standing right here, and you don't even ask if I've eaten. You got married and completely forgot about your own family. I looked at her and said, if you're so upset about asking your grandpa for money, why don't you just tell him everything? Scared he'll find out what you've really been up to? Oh, please, Lynn sneered. I'm not like you, sneaking around behind people's backs. That's pathetic. Watch your mouth, I said sharply. He gave me that money willingly. I didn't need to beg or flatter him, which is more than I can say for you, doing everything you can to kiss up to him and still walking away empty-handed. That's what's truly pathetic. Lynn's face burned red with rage. You manipulative little snake. I lost it. I slapped her, hard. That's a warning, I snapped. Don't push me again, or you'll regret it. You hit me? You bitch! Lynn screamed and raised her hand to slap me, but I caught her wrist and drove my knee hard into her stomach twice. She crumpled to the ground, gasping. She shrieked so loudly, Mr. Than rushed in. What's going on in here? Lynn ran to him and clung to his back, sobbing. She hit me, Grandpa. She slapped me. To her dismay, Mr. Than didn't side with her. You probably mouthed off again, didn't you? Serves you right. Learn to watch your tongue. Lynn's jaw dropped. You're not even going to ask what happened. You're just taking her side like that. I don't understand you anymore, Grandpa. I jumped in quickly. Honey, don't be upset with Lynn. It's my fault. I shouldn't have lost my temper. Mr. Than took my hand gently. No, sweetheart. Don't blame yourself. It's Lynn. She's been disrespectful and probably lied again, hasn't she? I nodded, eyes cast down. She called me a snake and a manipulator. If that's how you see me too, then maybe I should go stay with my mother. I don't want to be a burden. No, he said firmly. I knew it. I raised her, paid for her education, and this is the thanks I get? Don't be sad, love. I'll make sure she learns some respect. For now, just go rest upstairs. When the foe gets here, I'll call you down. Yes, dear, I said softly, brushing past Lynn. I shot her a cold look. Do you really think you're a match for me? She stood there, humiliated, slapped, scolded, powerless. I could hear Mr. Than still yelling at her upstairs. One more word out of line from you, and I'll send you packing back to your husband's house, got it? A week later, while Lynn and her husband were away on vacation, I convinced Mr. Than to buy me a piece of land in my name. Then I sweet-talked him into giving me 500 million VND to open a savings account, also in my name. No one knew about either of these. When Lynn returned, life went back to normal, like nothing had ever happened. I'd only been married to Mr. Than for 2 months, and already I had my own car, a prime piece of real estate, a sizable bank account, and wore nothing but designer clothes. Even the wedding money I'd sent home for my mother to keep. Honestly, I was content. I used to think life as the wife of an old man would be boring, dull, but money changes everything. When you're rich, life just feels brighter. That's the power of wealth. But the more you have, the more you want. Greed is a bottomless pit, and I wasn't immune. Now that money came so easily, I wanted more. Not just cash, I wanted a share in his legacy. Mr. Than owned a hotel and 5 motels, all registered under his name. They brought in steady income every year. He also held several properties. His only son, Lynn's father, managed the hotel, while the motels were run by distant relatives. So much wealth, and no one to spend it all. I wanted at least half of it. A motel in my name. Something permanent. That night, Lynn's parents came over for dinner. Lynn asked the maid to start prepping. Meanwhile, Nam, her husband, was glued to his phone playing games in the living room. Enough already, Lynn snapped. Put that phone down. Just 5 more minutes. I need to win this round, he said, eyes still fixed on the screen. You need to win nothing. Turn it off. My parents are almost here. Nam groaned and finally turned off his game. Babe, do you think your grandpa called your parents over to talk about, dividing assets? His eyes lit up at the idea. How can we really know for sure, huh? You're right, he said thoughtfully. Maybe Q's behind this, stirring something up again. Dividing the assets isn't such a bad idea. We'd get our share, and later we wouldn't have to keep working, right, babe? Are you crazy? She snapped. If we stop working, what are we going to live on once the money runs out? We've got over $1 million from Dad, don't we? Oh, please, she scoffed. The way you burn through money, $1 million won't last long at all. You better keep working. You've gotten so damn lazy lately. He chuckled nervously. So how much does Dad actually have? I heard from Mom that it's close to $10 million. That's not even counting the 5 plots of land or the motels and inns he owns. Then if he splits it all, we're going to be rich, he said excitedly. Who says he's splitting it into 4 equal parts? Well, there's us, Mom and Dad. That's 2 parts. Then Grandpa and Keo make the other 2. Lynn ground her teeth. We're supposed to give her a share? She's only been here 2 months and already taken God knows how much from Grandpa. He even bought her a car and gave her money to build a house, not to mention all the other gifts he's showered her with. She's made out like a bandit. But she is his wife, he said. She has the right to inherit. I know that, Lynn hissed. But I hate her. I'll never let that happen. No matter what, I won't let her take Grandpa's assets. And how exactly are you going to stop her? She's still living here, isn't she? I had been standing on the stairs and heard everything Ling and her husband had said. A smirk curled on my lips. So Lynn didn't want Grandpa to share anything with me. Greedy little snake. I'm his wife, for God's sake. All right then, Lynn, you'll learn soon enough. What goes around comes around. Later, Lynn's parents arrived. She immediately pulled her mother into her room. Mom, why did Grandpa call you 2 over? I'm not sure, her mother said. He just said he wanted to have dinner and talk about something. Maybe he's planning to divide the estate? Lynn asked eagerly. Could be. We'll find out soon enough. Has Q been treating Grandpa well? Not at all, Mom. She's only interested in his money. She doesn't love him. She acts sweet, but it's all fake. Is that so? Yes. She's been here for just a short while and already drained him of so much. If this keeps up, she'll milk him dry. She looks innocent, but she's cunning as hell. Really, honey? Yes, Mom. She's even threatening to kick me and Nam out of the house. Her mother's face darkened. Jesus. We thought she was some poor little thing, polite and humble. Turns out she's a manipulative brat. Your grandfather made a huge mistake marrying her. Exactly. If Grandpa even thinks about giving her part of the estate, you have to stop it. She doesn't deserve a damn thing. Don't worry. I'll talk to your father. That night after dinner, we all gathered in the living room. Grandpa then finally spoke. I called you both here because there's something I need to talk about. Yes, Dad? Lynn's husband said. You've worked hard managing the motels for years. Now I'd like to transfer 2 of them to Keo to manage, just to lighten your load. She has free time, and it would give her something meaningful to do. What do you think? They objected immediately. But we're not overwhelmed, Dad, Lynn insisted. We've handled everything for years without issue, and we agreed to your marriage to Keo so you'd have someone to care for you in your old age. If she's managing motels, how's she going to have time to take care of you? She can still care for me. The housekeepers help, and Keo can manage both. No, Dad, Lynn said firmly. Going back and forth between the motels will take up all her time. There'll be nothing left for looking after you. No matter how Grandpa Thun tried to explain, his son and daughter-in-law stood their ground, especially Mr. Tung, Lynn's father and Grandpa's only son. A capable businessman, his words carried weight. He had run all of Grandpa's affairs for years, while Grandpa simply enjoyed life at home. With him firmly against it, Grandpa had no chance of pushing the decision through. Round 1. Failed. We'd try again tomorrow. But honestly, I could already tell we were going to lose. Between his son, his daughter-in-law, and 2 grandkids backing them up, Grandpa and I didn't stand a chance. Back in my room, I lay on the bed, frustrated. Was it really over? Was I just going to accept this defeat? No, I had to think of something. Some way to shift the balance. I had barely gotten under the covers when Grandpa came in and tried to snuggle up to me, his hands slipping under the sheets. Stay away, I snapped. Oh, are you mad at me, babe? You're pathetic. Scared of your own son? Just calm down, okay? We've got time. I'll figure something out. Right, I scoffed. You talk a good game, but when have you ever delivered? I turned away, refusing to let him touch me. He kept begging, but I wouldn't budge. The next morning, Lynn was all sweetness, convincing her mom to go shopping with her. Nam sped off to hang out with friends. Grandpa went next door to play chess with a buddy. That left just me and Mr. Tung at home. I sat in the living room thinking hard. How can I get those motels? Mr. Tung wasn't the kind of man who could be bribed. I'd have to find another way. Then an idea hit me. A bold, risky one. But it might be my only shot. I changed into short shorts and a tiny tank top that barely held in my full, smooth chest. My waist was tight, my hips a perfect curve, especially now that I'd just had some touch-ups done last week. My body was my weapon, and I knew how to use it. I lay on the couch, belly down, hips slightly raised, every inch of me a silent invitation. I scrolled on my phone and waited. If I couldn't buy his support with money, then maybe I could buy it with desire. And desire, well, that works on every man. When Mr. Tung came downstairs and saw me, he cleared his throat to make his presence known. I stayed exactly where I was. "Aren't you going out with your wife and kids today?" I asked casually. "I wasn't feeling well, so I stayed home," he replied gently. "Where's my dad?" "Playing chess next door." "Also, you don't have to call me sir or uncle or whatever, Q. It's weird." "Good," I said softly, "because I don't want to. I'm only Grandpa Thun's wife on paper, not in any real sense." I let my face fall, feigning sadness. "What do you mean?" he asked, surprised. "Hasn't he been treating you well?" "It's not that he's mean, it's just he's lost his, manhood." I looked away, my voice low and wistful. "I'm still young, still in my prime, and I can't go on like this forever." The evening air was heavy with unspoken tension. Q sat quietly, her gaze drifting toward Mr. Tung, who had been pacing the room restlessly. "Do you really think you can handle it?" she asked softly, her tone more curious than accusatory. "Why did you want to remarry if you knew your heart wasn't in it?" Mr. Tung paused, startled by her question. Before he could answer, she continued, "You brought a woman home, only to offer her half a life, longing without fulfillment. Isn't that crueler than being alone?" Her words hung in the air, bittersweet and sharp. She reached up and gently placed her hand over her chest, not seductively, but as if feeling the ache of solitude itself. "Desire," she whispered, "isn't just a fire. It's a cage when left unlit." Mr. Tung turned away, clearly flustered. "Please don't speak like that," he murmured, but Kyo's expression remained unreadable. "I'm tired of feeling incomplete," she confessed, rising to her feet and taking a step toward him. Her voice trembled with restrained desperation. "Maybe you could help. Just once. Just enough so I don't forget what it means to be wanted." There was a moment of silence between them, thick and fragile, and then, as if drawn by some magnetic force, he reached for her. The rest of the world faded behind the closing door. That night changed everything. Though she had once been a wife, her marriage had long withered into formality. Her husband's illness had left her untouched, her needs buried under layers of silence. So when Mr. Tung offered warmth, she accepted. Not for love, but for the affirmation that she was still a woman of flesh and feeling. "I could be your secret," she told him later, breathlessly. "No one needs to know. You protect me, and I'll keep your world undisturbed." He agreed, too quickly perhaps, but with a look in his eyes that said he hadn't felt alive in years. Not long after, Q found herself rising through the family's inner ranks. During a family meeting, Mr. Tung, once stern and cautious, unexpectedly supported her to manage 2 of the family's inns. His daughter Lin, stunned, objected. "But last night you said no," she argued. "Why the sudden change?" Her father only sighed. "I've had time to think. I'm getting old. I want to rest, and your grandfather's wishes must be respected." Lin sensed something was wrong, but could not place it. Meanwhile, Q sat back, her smile calm but triumphant. In her mind, she whispered, "You think you can outsmart me?" "Not yet, child." From that day forward, the inns were hers. Wealth, comfort, and a strange sense of power followed. But with comfort came temptation. She began frequenting upscale lounges, drinking more than she should, chasing a version of freedom that often blurred the line between confidence and carelessness. One night, drunk and stumbling, she returned home past midnight. Lin opened the door, disgust clear in her eyes. "You're shameless," Lin spat. "Drinking, disappearing. If it were up to me, you'd be gone." Kyo smirked. "But it's not up to you, is it?" Their words clashed like knives, and the house filled with tension until Nam, Lin's husband, stepped in. Later that night, when all was quiet, Kyo sent him a message. He answered. On the fourth floor, where no one would hear them, she and Nam crossed a line that neither of them could later erase. When she returned to her room hours later, Mr. Thun was already awake. He didn't need to ask where she had been. He simply looked at her and said, "So, where have you been, wife of mine?" And for once, Kyo had no words to reply. After that, I calmed myself down. My wife had gotten up in the middle of the night because she was thirsty. "Hey, can you grab me my cane?" he asked groggily. "These past few days I've been feeling exhausted. My joints ache all over." "Okay, then tomorrow I'll take you to the hospital, all right?" "Sounds good," he replied. Mr. Than hobbled toward the bathroom with his cane, each step heavy and labored. I curled my lips into a sneer. That damn old man. Why won't he just drop dead already? I'm sick of looking at his dentures every single day. It makes my stomach turn. This house has 3 men in it, and now all 3 of them are obsessed with me. Why? Because I'm beautiful. Because I know how to please a man. Men are always drawn to a seductive woman who isn't afraid to be a little dirty. I didn't get to sleep until almost dawn, so I slept straight through till noon. When I finally came downstairs, I saw Lynn in the kitchen. That was surprising. She usually never cooks. I opened the fridge to grab some water and said mockingly, Well, you're in the kitchen today. Since when did you become so domestic?" She shot me a glare and said flatly, "The housekeeper had to go home for some personal stuff. If I didn't cook, everyone would starve." "Oh, I see," I replied with fake sweetness. "So what's on the menu?" "Beef noodle soup," she said, not even looking at me. "Smells pretty good. I'm starving." She gave me a crooked smile. "Well, I didn't make any for you. I only cooked 3 bowls for Grandpa, my husband, and myself. If you want to eat, make your own. Oh, and we're out of beef, so you'll have to go to the store." "You little witch," I muttered under my breath. "Used up all the beef, didn't you? What, trying to starve me now?" "Exactly. I'm not stupid enough to cook for someone like you." Then she brought out the 3 steaming bowls and sat down to eat, slurping dramatically, obviously trying to provoke me. So good," she said between bites. "Guess I'm not such a bad cook after all." I didn't waste another word on her. I stormed over, grabbed her by the hair, and shoved her face straight into the hot bowl of soup. She screamed as the boiling broth spilled all over her face and down her thighs. She shot up, flailing, and shrieked at the top of her lungs. "How dare you? What the hell is wrong with you?" I yanked her hair again and slammed her head into the mess of spilled noodles on the table. "You think your cooking is so great? Then eat it. Eat every last drop. If I see even a single noodle left, I'll make you lick the whole table clean. Now eat!" Lynn screamed for help. "Nam! Grandpa, please help me. She's trying to kill me!" Nam came running but stopped when he saw me pressing Lynn's face into the table. He glanced at me, then silently turned back around and walked into his room, pretending he hadn't heard a thing. He was already caught in my trap. He wouldn't dare intervene now. Mr. Thon slowly made his way down with his cane. By the time he arrived, I had shoved nearly the entire bowl into Lynn's mouth. "What's going on here?" he asked. I let go of her hair just then, still completely calm, not even pretending to be afraid. Lynn ran to Grandpa, sobbing dramatically. "She tried to kill me! Please help me, Grandpa!" "She's a monster, not a human. If you don't kick her out, one day she'll kill all of us." I walked off to wash my hands as if nothing had happened. Mr. Thon looked at Lynn. Her hair was tangled, her face covered in broth and beef, and then turned to me. "Kyo, did you really hit her like this? If something happened, you should have just talked to her calmly. Why beat her up like this?" I sat down at the table, still composed. "Once you hear the full story, you'll understand I had my reasons." Lynn cried louder. "Grandpa, my face burns. My thighs are scalded too. She burned me, Grandpa. That monster." Mr. Thun said gently, "Lynn, calm down. Sit here and tell me what happened." He then turned to me. "All right, Kyo. Start from the beginning." I sighed. "I don't understand why Lynn hates me so much. Look around. There are 4 people in this house, and yet she only cooked for 3. She refuses to cook for me, refuses to acknowledge me as family. Sure, I'm not her real grandmother, but I'm still married to her grandfather. I'm part of this family. Why does she treat me like I'm nothing? Yes, I was wrong to hit her, but she provoked me first. She cursed at me. I lost my temper. I'm sorry." Mr. Than turned to Lynn. "Is it true? You only made 3 bowls?" Lynn muttered. "Yes, but it's not a big deal." It is a big deal, Mr. Than snapped. You disrespected her. I already told you before, whether you like it or not, Q is my wife. She's family. You may not call her grandma, and that's fine. I've let that slide. But this is basic respect, Lynn. You're too old to act like a brat. But Grandpa, she's awful. She's not even human. She's a monster. Enough, Mr. Than roared. No wonder she hit you. You brought it on yourself. Don't act like the victim here. Lynn had thought Grandpa would be on her side, but his words left her humiliated and speechless. She stormed off to her room. Nam was still lying on the bed, scrolling his phone. She barged in, furious. You're just lying there scrolling your phone while I'm being humiliated and burned out there? Nam sat up slowly. What now? Look at me. Look at my face. My hair. Do I look normal to you? He knew what had happened, but still feigned ignorance. What happened? Did you fall? Fall? I got attacked by that bitch. Who? Who else in this damn house? That whore. She beat me to a pulp and Grandpa defended her. Look at my face. My skin is blistering. Are you even going to put some ointment on it or what? Okay, sit down, he muttered. Lynn sat down angrily. That slut, there's nothing good about her. And yet Grandpa believes every word she says. He's totally blinded. Nam muttered under his breath. Well, maybe she's not a good person, but she's good at other things. What do you mean? You know, pleasing her man. Lynn's eyes widened. What the hell did you just say? Are you saying you slept with her? Nem froze, eyes darting. What? You're insane. I was just talking. Don't take it the wrong way. So that's how it is, huh? I misspoke once and you instantly jumped to conclusions. I give up. Nam wiped the sweat from his brow. That was close. I almost gave myself away. After getting smacked, Lynn started plotting her revenge. I'm not letting her get away with this, Lynn whispered to Nam, her voice icy. She needs to pay. I've got a plan. Nam was curious. What are you going to do? She always comes downstairs around midnight to get a glass of cold water, right? Lynn's eyes narrowed. I'm going to make sure she falls, face first, right down those stairs. Wait, fall down the stairs? How? Tonight, I'll pour cooking oil all over the steps. She's half asleep at that time. Won't even notice. Just wait. At 11 p.m., I was lying in bed scrolling through my phone when a text from Nam came in. Don't go downstairs for water tonight. Lynn set a trap for you. She wants you to fall. I replied with a quick, okay, and shut off my phone. Later that night, I got thirsty. But remembering Nam's warning, I didn't go to the kitchen. Instead, I drank from a cup of water that Grandpa Tun had left on the nightstand. Because of his weak legs, he always brought a glass of water up to his room before bed. I, on the other hand, preferred cold water from the fridge, so I'd usually go downstairs for it. But that night, since I drank his water, Grandpa Then woke up parched in the middle of the night and decided to go downstairs himself. I was half asleep when he got up. I didn't think too much of it. Lynn wanted to hurt me, not her own grandfather. Surely she wouldn't harm him. I just told him to turn on the hallway light before heading down, then rolled over and closed my eyes. A few minutes later, I heard a loud thud, followed by Grandpa Tun's voice crying out in pain. I jumped out of bed and ran to the stairs. He was lying at the bottom, bleeding heavily from his head. Panicked, I screamed. Nam and Lynn rushed out of their room. The sight of her grandfather lying in a pool of blood made Lynn go pale. She fainted right then and there. We rushed Grandpa Thun to the hospital, but his health had already been deteriorating. The fall was too much for him. He passed away that night. No one called the police, but I knew the truth. Grandpa Thun died because of that oil on the stairs, oil that Lynn had poured, meant for me. She hadn't expected her own grandfather would be the one to slip and fall. After the funeral, we all gathered to talk. Lynn sat silently, visibly shaken. Her parents assumed it was just a tragic accident, that Grandpa Thun had lost his footing. He'd had a mild stroke before, and his legs were weak. No one suspected foul play. No one, except me, Nam, and Lynn. We were the only ones who knew what really happened. Ever since then, Lynn's been terrified of me. I held her secret. Now anything I said, she'd obey. She didn't dare argue. With Grandpa Thang gone, I started taking control of the family. One by one, I claimed everything he left behind. 2 motels, some land, a car. And now, I was after the 100 billion dong, about 4 million USD, sitting in his bank account. I had nothing to worry about from Nam and Mr. Tung anymore. Lynn, too, was under my thumb. The only person standing in my way now was Mr. Tung's wife. After Grandpa Then's death, dividing the inheritance became a major issue. We held a family meeting. There were 5 of us: me, his wife, Mr. Tung and Mrs. Hoa, his son and daughter-in-law, and Lin with her husband Nam, his granddaughter and grandson-in-law. We all knew the estate. Over 100 billion dong in cash, 5 plots of land, 4 of which had already been gifted, 1 each to Tung, Hoa, Lin, and Nam, and 5 motels. 2 of the motels had been left to me. 1 hotel had gone to Mr. Tung and his wife. That left 1 motel, 1 plot of land, and the 100 billion dong, still in Grandpa Then's name. He'd kept that for medical expenses and living costs. But he passed away suddenly, without updating his will, so it was up to us to decide how to divide the rest. Lin and Nam were eyeing the last motel and plot of land. Lin spoke up first. "Q, Mom, Dad, you've all received more than Nam and I have. We'd like to have the last motel and plot of land." Mrs. Hoa agreed right away. "She's right. They've worked hard taking care of Grandpa all this time. I think that's fair." Mr. Tung added, "I know they've done a lot, but shouldn't we ask Kyo first?" Lin looked irritated. "Kyo just got here a few months ago? What has she done to deserve so much? Nam and I were the ones who stayed with Grandpa, cared for him day and night. Don't you think he was being unfair to us?" Mrs. Hoa nodded. "Exactly. I think it's only right that they get the last house and lot." I couldn't take it anymore. Really? Lin and Nam barely lifted a finger. All they did was lounge around together. They didn't even notice when Grandpa left the house. Should I call the police? Maybe they can investigate whether Grandpa really slipped, or if someone caused his fall. Lin froze. Her face drained of color. She looked down at the floor, silent. Mrs. Hoa, unaware of what I knew, kept defending her daughter. Mr. Tung's voice turned serious. "Wait, what do you mean by that? Are you saying Dad's death wasn't an accident?" "Well, I wouldn't be saying it if there weren't something behind it," I replied sharply. "No, Dad, I'm not asking for anything anymore." Lin cut in. "You and Mom and Kyo can decide. I won't say another word." Mrs. Hoa looked confused. "Lin, what's going on with you? Why are you backing down all of a sudden just because Kyo spoke up?" "Nothing, Mom. Let's just keep talking." We kept discussing, but couldn't reach a conclusion. The motel and plot of land were left undecided. Then came the 100 billion dong. Mrs. Hoa argued that she and Mr. Tung should inherit the money. "We've taken care of Dad for nearly 20 years. It only makes sense that we inherit his estate." Lin and Nam agreed. After all, Lin was their daughter, so any money her parents received would eventually come to her. But I refused. "That's not fair," I said. "I was his wife. That money should be split. 50 billion to me, 50 billion to you." Mrs. Hoa widened her eyes, gritting her teeth. "You've only been here for a few months, and yet Mr. Than has already handed you a fortune. Be content with what you have. Don't be so greedy." 50 billion more. That kind of greed will get you killed." I gave her a cold look. "If greed could kill, you'd be the first to go, wouldn't you? You're still just a kid, but the drama you drag into this house is unbelievable. If you can't contribute anything meaningful, the least you can do is stop trying to snatch more. You want another 50 billion? Over my dead body. My husband and I have worked ourselves to the bone serving my father-in-law for 20 years. That 100 billion should be ours. You waltz into this family, done nothing, and now you demand a share?" I stayed calm. "I have done something no one in this family was willing to do." Mrs. Hoa crossed her arms. "Oh, really? What's that?" "I became his wife. You think it's easy being married to a dying old man riddled with illness and twisted in the head? I stayed by his side. That 50 billion, I earned it." "He gave you more than enough. Don't push your luck." "I'm not pushing. But if you think I'll walk away quietly, you're wrong. If you plan to lawyer up, go ahead." I glanced at Mr. Tung. "You really going to bring in lawyers?" He looked torn, fumbling for words. "Let's talk it through first. Maybe there's a better way." I narrowed my eyes at him, warningly. "If you turn on me, I'll tell her everything. About the nights we spent together. About how she's not the only one sharing your bed. Imagine how she'll take that news." Mrs. Hoa and I continued shouting back and forth, both refusing to back down. Mr. Tung and Nam stayed silent. After all, both of them had slept with me. Now they were trapped, scared I'd expose them. They just sat there, watching the fight. Eventually, Mrs. Hoa demanded Mr. Sledborough Tongue call a lawyer, but he stalled, saying we'd reconvene in a week for another family meeting, buying himself time to find a solution that wouldn't anger anyone too much. But we all knew there was no easy way out. The inheritance Mr. Tan left was just too massive. The next morning, I got up early for a walk and saw Mr. Tung in the courtyard. "You're up early," I said. "Couldn't sleep," he muttered. "She's still pushing me to call the lawyer. I don't know what to do." I smirked. "Figure it out. I want exactly 50 billion, not a cent less. If I don't get it, Mrs. Hoa will learn all about your little affair with me, and once she knows, so will everyone else." He panicked. "Please, don't. If she finds out, she'll kill me." "Then make sure I get my money." "This is complicated." "Not for me," I shrugged. "I'll go tell her right now if you want." He grabbed my wrist. "No, please. I'll find a way. Just give me some time." I patted his cheek with mock affection. "There we go. That's the sweet side of you I like. When was the last time we had a proper date, huh?" He leaned in, whispering, "Meet me later? Same place?" "I could, but only if you promise to behave," I teased. "If I get my 50 billion, I'll be your secret lover forever. Doesn't that sound nice?" He nodded eagerly. "Yes. God, yes. Good. Don't forget, you're seeing a client later. Book the hotel. I'll be there first. Order me something sweet." We were still whispering when Mrs. Hoa came out. "Tung, you're up early?" she called, then shot me a dirty look. "What are you doing here?" "I'm exercising. Can't you see?" "Don't play dumb with me. You're always scheming." I rolled my eyes. "Maybe you should stop projecting your own crap onto others. Enough with the act. We all know how manipulative and evil you are. You fooled my father-in-law, but you'll never fool us." Mr. Tung rushed to calm her. "Come on, honey. It's too early to be yelling like this. Let's go back inside. I'll make you breakfast." "You're scared of her, aren't you?" she snapped. "That's why she's bleeding us dry." "Let's go inside, sweetheart. Tell me what you want, I'll cook it." I made a face. He cooks for her like he's some doting husband. If she ever found out he slept with me, she'd behead him on the spot. And here he is, buttering her up. After a passionate session with Mr. Tung at the hotel, I reminded him once again. 50 billion, I meant it. You hear me? I'm not giving you love for free, then getting tossed aside like some side dish. I know, but you already have money. Why do you need more?" "Because I want more. It's none of your business what I do with it. I need it. Period." "Okay," he sighed. "I'll figure something out. I'll get you your share." "You better. And no excuses. I'm your queen now. You do what I say. Understood?" "Yes, ma'am. You're always right." That evening, I remembered I had dinner plans with my mother. I kissed him goodbye. "I'm heading out. See you later, babe. Drive safe, love." As I drove home along a familiar route, a wave of nostalgia hit me. I thought of Keen, my first love. He was the kind, handsome neighbor who used to park his motorbike just to walk beside me on this very road. The man who cried for me once and made me cry too. Since I got married, I hadn't seen him. I often tried to catch a glimpse when I visited my mother, but he was never there. I sighed, humming my first love as I drove. And then, like fate, I saw him. Still simple. Still riding that old motorbike. Still Keen. "Hey, Keen!" I called. He turned, saw me, and smiled. "Wow, long time no see. How've you been?" "I'm good. What about you? Still single?" "Everything's fine. Still single, though." "Picky, huh?" "Not really. I'm just poor. No one wants a poor guy." His words stung for both of us. The past suddenly felt close again. He changed the subject quickly. "Where's your husband? Why aren't you with him?" "He passed away." "What? I'm so sorry. He was old, sick, died earlier than expected, that's all. Well, my condolences to you and your family." "Thank you." Seeing Keen again, it made me unexpectedly happy. I wanted to say goodbye to him, but I was afraid that I might never see him again. We stood there, just looking at each other for a long time. No words were spoken, yet emotions swelled quietly in both our hearts. Later, as I sat eating dinner with my mom, she suddenly asked me something that caught me off guard, tightening my throat. "You just saw Kian, didn't you?" "Yeah," I murmured. "Kian's a good guy," she said wistfully. "If only—" "Mom, please don't talk about that right now," I interrupted. "I've got too much going on." "What's keeping you so busy?" she asked. "I'm in the middle of a legal fight over 50 billion dong with Mrs. Hoa." My mom's expression tightened. "Oh, honey, come on. You already have so much money. What's the point in fighting over it anymore? Come back home with me. Let's just live happily together, you and me. Mom, that's 50 billion dong. That's not a small amount. I can't just walk away from it. She sighed, pleading, Please, just come home. You've already gotten so much from Mr. Thun after just a few months living there. Why keep pushing? We already have a nice house, money in the bank. Isn't that enough for a peaceful life? But I couldn't stop. I wasn't built to stop. Not with that kind of ambition burning inside me. My mother kept trying to convince me, but I wouldn't listen. 50 billion is a life-changing sum. I couldn't simply let it go. Eventually, unable to change my mind, she went to Kian and asked him to talk some sense into me. But it was no use. I had made up my mind. Nothing could stop me now. I stayed with her one more night. The next morning, as I stood at the gate ready to leave, she said again, Sweetheart, come back and live with me. I'll take care of you forever. Wait until I get the 50 billion, Mom. Then I'll come back to you for good. I'll never leave your side again, I promise. We already have plenty, dear, she said softly. Why keep fighting? Come home, please. Okay, I'm going now, Mom. Take care. I got in the car and started the engine. Out of habit, I glanced over toward Kian's house, and there he was, standing in the yard, looking straight at me. His eyes said 1,000 things, and I panicked. I turned the wheel and drove off without looking back. In the rearview mirror, I could see my mother and Kian standing there watching me go. That image is burned into my memory. A week later, the negotiation finally concluded. Mr. Thun's assets were split as follows. I got 50 billion. Mr. Tung and Mrs. Hoa got the other 50 billion. Lin and Nam received a plot of land and a small hotel. The house we were living in was given to Mr. Tung, since he was the loyal son who would take care of the family shrine. With the assets divided, the drama quieted down. Mr. Tung and Nam, who had been aligned with me from the beginning, didn't make a fuss. Lin, still afraid I might expose how she'd once poured cooking oil on the stairs, causing her grandfather to fall, stayed silent. Only Mrs. Hoa was upset. She couldn't accept the outcome. I've only been the daughter-in-law here for a few months, and yet I get half the inheritance? I sat casually in the living room when she came over. You've done well for yourself. She sneered. You must be thrilled sitting on all that money. Having money is nice, I replied with a small smile. But nothing brings me more joy than beating you, Mrs. Hoa. That's the real victory. She clenched her jaw, seething. Don't get cocky. Greed has a way of catching up with people. One day you'll choke on it. Well, we'll just have to see who ends up choking, won't we? I shot back. You're sly, I'll give you that. But there's still so much going on behind your back you don't know about. Maybe stop judging others until you get your own house in order. Mrs. Hoa fumed, but couldn't touch me. Every time she tried to start a fight, Mr. Tung stepped in and dragged her away. She was powerless. I packed my things, ready to return home to Mom. Everything had gone exactly the way I wanted. I had money now, real wealth, a future of comfort and happiness for me and my mother. Mrs. Hoa went to a hotel where she'd arranged to meet a private investigator. Do you have the results? She asked. Yes, he said. I've been following Mr. Tung for a month. I've identified the woman he's been seeing. Who is she? Someone from your own family. Mrs. Hoa's face went pale. Who? It's Kyo. He handed her a file of photos and documents. They've been seeing each other for over 2 months. Here's the proof. Mrs. Hoa's body shook with rage. Her skin flushed hot as if she were about to explode. She let out a furious scream. Meanwhile, I loaded all my belongings into the car. Before driving away, I took one last look at Mr. Then's house. I used to think I'd be stuck living a dull life in that house forever. But now, not only was I free, I was walking away with a fortune. Life had become a dream. I was satisfied. Goodbye. I drove home. When I arrived, my mom was overjoyed. From that day forward, she no longer had to worry about me. I swore to her, never again would I let her carry the burden of concern for my sake. From now on, I would take care of her. She had sacrificed so much. Everything I had gained, 50 billion dong, a prime land lot, 2 boutique hotels, a savings account worth 500 million, a car, and valuable assets, was the result of my youth traded away. But it was worth it. Now Mom and I had nothing left to do but enjoy our lives. We lived in peace for a week until I started missing Kian. I wanted to see him again, but it seemed like he was avoiding me. Every time I came to visit, he found some excuse to leave. Today was no different. As soon as I stepped into his yard, he walked out. "Oh, it's you." "Hi," I said, trying to smile. "I brought food. Mom cooked." He scratched his head awkwardly. "Maybe another time. I've got something I need to do." "You're avoiding me, aren't you?" "No, I'm not." "Why would you say that?" "Don't lie to me, Kian. I know I'm not the same person I used to be, but if you don't love me anymore, just say it. Don't keep running. It hurts." He looked at me, eyes filled with pain. "I do love you. I never stopped. I love you more than you'll ever know." "Then why have you been avoiding me all week? Why keep making excuses?" "Because I'm broke now. I feel like I have nothing to offer you. I didn't want you to see me like this." But I didn't let him finish that sentence. I had already reached out, and Kian held my hand as I straightened his collar and kissed him gently on the lips. "Don't say things like that," I whispered. "I've made a lot of mistakes. You don't have to blame yourself." Kian looked at me, hesitation in his eyes. "You don't mind that I don't have much, do you?" he asked. "I may be poor, but no one will ever love you as much as I do." I smiled. "I know. Now come. Have dinner with me and Mom. She's been waiting for you." Kian nodded right away. We held hands tightly, almost as if we were afraid that letting go would mean losing each other again. The feelings we once had came flooding back, wrapping around my heart like a warm embrace. After dinner, I invited him for a walk. "Hey, want to go for a stroll?" "Sure. Let's head to the riverbank for some fresh air." "Remember how someone used to walk their motorbike just to walk beside me along that path?" I teased. "You still remember that?" he chuckled. "Of course. Everything about you I remember." "Thank you for always keeping me in your heart." "You don't have to thank me. Just being with you again makes me feel so lucky. I'll take care of you for the rest of my life. That's a promise." Meanwhile, at a nearby hotel, Mrs. Hoa's phone buzzed. "Yes?" she answered. "Your target is walking with her boyfriend toward the levee," a voice said. "Should we move in?" "Do it. Make it quick and clean. No loose ends." "Understood, ma'am." Mrs. Hoa smirked into the phone. "Let's see who'll want your pretty face after I ruin it for good." That night, the moon was bright, and the breeze from the fields made the levee feel peaceful. Kian and I walked hand in hand, reminiscing about our beautiful past. I'd never felt so deeply happy. This man, my first love, had stood by me since those difficult days when I was struggling just to survive. Now, I finally had everything I had dreamed of, and he was still here, by my side. We talked about moving in together in a few months, about having a simple, humble wedding, nothing flashy. We even joked about having 5 children to fill our house with laughter. Both of us were only children, so we wanted a big family. I imagined a life filled with joy and love, just the two of us building a future. We were lost in conversation, not realizing a black SUV had crept up behind us. Its headlights blinded Kian. He instinctively pushed me behind him. The car screeched to a stop. 4 men jumped out. They attacked us without warning. I screamed, terrified, but that stretch of the levee was deserted. The nearest houses were too far for anyone to hear. Kian tried to protect me, but 2 masked men dragged him away. They beat him violently, punch after punch, until he collapsed in front of me, bloody and broken. In a panic, I struggled to run, but someone threw acid at my face. My entire body, from head to toe, erupted in searing pain, so intense that everything went numb. I collapsed. Everything went black. When I woke up, I was in the hospital. The acid had left me severely burned. My whole body was bandaged, but my face had taken the worst of it. Kian was holding my hand when I opened my eyes. But as soon as I realized the extent of my injuries, I knew everything good in my life was over. The dream of building a happy home with him, it was gone. Everything was over. How was I supposed to live now? I screamed and thrashed in despair. My mother and Kian tried to calm me, to soothe me, but I couldn't accept what had happened. I kept fighting them, inconsolable, until the doctors had to sedate me. Only then did I finally fall still. 8 months later, I stood in front of the mirror, dressed to go to the market with my husband, my first time out since I'd come home from the hospital. I took a deep breath, still unsure. Should I even go? I murmured to my reflection. Kian came into the room. Ready, love? He said with a smile. I still feel embarrassed, I admitted. What's there to be embarrassed about? You're not ashamed to be seen with a wife who looks like this? He kissed my scarred cheek and said, To me, you are the most beautiful woman in the world. Always. but I look like a monster." He smiled and pulled me close. "Since when do monsters look this adorable? Come on, let's go. I heard there's a fair today with music and handmade crafts. It'll be fun." I nodded. Kian held my hand as we walked outside. He had stood by me through every storm, through over half a year of surgeries, therapy, and pain. Though I no longer looked like the girl I once was, he never once let go of me. He was the one who helped me let go of hatred, helped me reclaim peace in my life. Because of him, I could still dream of happiness. Thank you, life, for letting me meet him, the great love of my life.